Welcome to Dobby's Repairs. I'm Dobby the Fixing Elf. In this video we're going to be repairing the boot trim on a Mark 1 Citroen C4 Grand Picasso. This is quite a common problem, but one we can fix fairly easily. So grab your tools and let's get fixing. And here's the trim piece that we're going to be repairing today. As you can see, it's all loose and it's actually making it difficult to open the boot. And this trim normally breaks because people lift it up by this part here, where I'm at my hand right now, and it's just not designed for that. You need to pop it open with the boot release and then just lift it up from the bottom there like I just did then. And here you can see the boot release. As you can see, it's all loose and floppy. That's because this trim actually holds it up. And yeah, now we're going to start this repair. The first thing we need to do is remove these two push pins down the bottom here. So I'm going to use a tack lifter for this, and I'm going to lift them out quickly. Just these little centre parts of it, they pop out and they remove really simply and easily. That's the first one done. Just tuck it on the boot. And then the second one. There we are. Now I'm going to remove these two T20 screws. So I'll start with this one. To get my screwdriver in place. Just quickly run it out so it's done. It doesn't take very long to remove at all. With a bit better angle for you. There we go, that's the first one. Chuck that in the boot too. And then we're going to do the next one. Again, the T20, so they're quite easy to remove. So once you've got these two screws out, that's all the fasteners holding it on. And we can start removing the inner boot panel. So it's a fairly straightforward process. So here it is here. And there's a couple of, it's sort of hooked on over the top there, so you need to lift it off over the top. So just pop it like that, as you can see, just pry it back and it will come loose. Once you get one side off, you can just pull it down and it's just held in by panel pins. They can break, so be careful, but you can get replacements, so not too difficult if they do break. You just want to work your way around the edge. And yeah, once you get to this last end, you may find that the upper boot trim panel comes off like that, but it's okay, we can just pop it back into place once we get it off. Just quickly work it out of the way. There we are, and we'll pop that back up in a minute. It just pushes back into place. Nothing too serious. Now we've got to remove 6 10mm. As you can see, they're just along here, just the inside of the boot, next to the handle and all, the boot release, they say. And yeah, there we go. That's all 6 of them. And I'm just going to use a 10mm socket. You can also use a 10mm spanner for this. And you just work them out. I just sped things up so you can go watch me remove all of them. So yeah, they come out fairly simply. They are connected to the plastic of the boot trim on the other side. So if yours spins and spins and spins, it probably means the boot trim on the other side has broken off or is not there, in the case of one of these ones, which is the M1. So this one just here was broken off completely and completely missing when I take it off. But it's not a problem, we'll deal with that as we go. Yeah, you need to work out all the 10mm nuts off the little studs. We can remove the boot trim. So now I'm just going to quickly go back. I don't think I had them all, but I did miss one. So I have to go back in the middle here and get the last one. There's also 2 push pins on each end, which makes it quite easy to remove, and that one's out. Now we're going to pop off the 2 push pins. It's luckily quite loose, so just pop it off, and then you can see it'll pop off. And the broken clip parts will fall out. These are the parts that are broken off on the trim. We'll just do the other side now. It'll pop off, and as you can see, there's another little trim piece. Yeah, it's pretty broken on the inside of here. I'm quite surprised it held on, to be honest, because nothing was really holding it on there, apart from the 2 push pins on the end. Now we'll remove the boot release. We need this removed for later on. So this is quite straightforward. Just pull it out and remove the connector from the back. There's just a little push at the top and push and squeeze and it'll pop off nice and easily. There we go. And that's your boot release. If you need to replace it, you can also use the video to go for that. Now I've arranged the pieces back in the right place. But as you can see, there's one missing on the end here. But this is relatively straightforward. There's like little witness marks where they've broken off from. So I'll show you that in just a moment. As you can see just here, just line it up like that to where it's supposed to be. just make sure you got the pieces in the right orientation because they are sided. And I'm going to take them off and just clean up the plastic using a little wire brush just to score it up for the glue that I'm going to be using. As you can see, I'm just giving it a good clean, getting off any loose dirt. And I'll come back with some brake clean in a moment and finish off. That's the first one. I'll just speed up my way for the rest of them. And you just want to run them through. It may be wise to mark them as well once you get the right positions so you remember which one goes where. So flip them all off and just clean up all this dirt. I would also recommend putting some cardboard down or a cloth to protect the back side of your boot trim. So otherwise you'll get all scratched up like this one did. I wish I thought of that at the time. And just quickly run your way through, clean all the dirt off and make it a good surface for gluing. And I'm going to use a bit of brake clean just to blast off any extra dirt and just make it a nice clean prep surface. If you're finding this video helpful, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe if you're new. Any questions, just drop a comment and I'll do my best to answer it. But as you can see, I'm just cleaning it up with a bit of blue towel and the brake clean. Just going to get all the dirt off. This is the only clip that actually stayed on there. The rest of them all broke off. So yeah, as you can see, just keep going all the way through. Like I said, as you can see, I'm just going to finish up the cleaning process now. And then let all the solvent dry off before I start gluing. So now I'm going to super glue this into place to start with. I find super glue is the best thing to start with, and then you get a nice good bead. As you can see, I'm just gluing along where the old witness marks were. And then just line it up and hold it in place where the glue dries. And it's quite straightforward. Glue it in place. There we go. Again, this takes a few seconds to set. I'm going to run a bit of extra glue around the edge. And that one's now nicely set. So we can move on to do the rest. As you can see here. Now it's set, we're going to move on to the next section. I'm fairly lucky I have access to this plastic welder, which makes repairing this sort of thing really easy. So I'm just going to use the hot staples that come with it to secure the plastic in place. You want to be careful if you're using a plastic welder not to go too deep to go through the other side. If you haven't got access to a plastic welder, you can use a really strong epoxy or a strong glue. You want something that's fairly strong and robust. Yeah, as I said, I'm using this plastic welder and it makes this job really easy, as I mentioned earlier. And what you want to do is just put a couple of staples around the edge of it. And I'll show you a couple of them quickly. Just want to make it nice and secure. I'm just quickly loading up a staple. And you can see we come from the angle here now and just angle it up here to give me a bit of extra support. And let's just make the whole thing a bit stronger than it actually was when it was new. And the staples make it really firm and secure. Now I'm going to do the middle section one here, which is quite weak. I'd always recommend using a bit of super glue first, just to tack it in place as such, so that it can't move while you're welding it or gluing it with a stronger glue. So yeah, just get it lined up in the right spot, as you can see me doing here. And there are little marks where it's snapped off, and you'll notice them when you're looking at it. You see, once you get it in the right place where we want it, you come along with our plastic welder and just secure it in place. There we go. You can see that goes in. It just makes everything nice and secure and simple. And this is quite a long process, but as you can see, everything seems to just go together really well with these. And you need a couple per clip, and that's the best placement for the hot staples. And you just want to work your way around it, keep checking, make sure you're not doing anything out of place. As I said, make sure you put a cardboard down or carpet or something soft underneath this so you don't scratch up the surface. There we go, that's the next one in. And yeah, these plastic welders are great for this. With a bit of a set time. There we go. The only thing I wouldn't recommend using is hot glue, as I may have said before. But yeah, don't use hot glue for this job, it won't last. And you'll be doing it again. Just slide it in there like that, and that goes nicely. And we'll do the next one. And I won't show you any more now, I will skip ahead to when it's finished. Once this one's done. There you go, this is the last one going in now. As you can see, it's made it all nice and secure. So I will show you a bit of a close-up in just a second. And there we go, as you can see, not the prettiest, but it's definitely effective. I would recommend clipping off these end pieces of the staples. But as you can see, it's all nice and secure. And now we're going to secure the bonnet release. So that just drops into place in the middle there. And we're going to put this trim back on now. It's fairly straightforward. Make sure all your bolts are lined up in the right spot. And then we're going to pop the cable back on. And pop the connector back on, shall I say. And yeah, just line everything up and just pop the 2 push pins in at each end. Make sure all your bolts go through the holes. I'll just quickly whip around the other side of you guys and then pop that one in there. It's not going to be very secure now because it isn't bolted in, but it's definitely a lot better. I'd also recommend making sure you put something in the boot catch. I use the ratchet here to stop it from closing completely so you can open the boot easily if you need to. And now we're going to put the 10mm back on. So again, there's 5 of these now. There was 6 originally. Hopefully yours won't be missing a piece when you're putting it back together. But yeah, just starting by hand as always. Always start all your bolts by hand. Don't want to cross thread them. And once you get all of them in place, I'm going to start tightening it down. I will say you have to go back along and retighten them down after you get the first one in place. Because it just pulls it all tight. And then we'll do this one just here, just tighten it up by hand and then finish it off with the ratchet. Again, if you haven't got a little ratchet like this, you can use a 10mm spanner. It just takes a bit more time. The bolts in the corners are the hardest, the nuts in the corners, I say. And that's the last one tightened up just now. I'm going to put the boot panel back on. So you need to hook it over the top here like this. It is quite difficult because you're holding the boot down while you're pushing it. And just push it into place and it will click in and you'll hear it pop nicely. And then we'll just give it a little gentle love tap just to make it all nice and secure up the top there. As you can see, you need to kind of pull down on the boot at the same time as well. Just be careful not to hit it too hard and damage the glass. And then we'll put the push pins back in now. Let me quickly grab this over so you can have a closer look. So you can see there's the first push pin in. I'm going to pop the second one in. There we go. And I'm going to go around the edge again, make sure everything's nice and secure before we put the 2 screws in. So here's the first T20 going back in. To get it nice and tight. And there we go. That's the second one going in now. Now we're going to shut the boot down. And then we're going to open it and make sure everything's working as it should. As you can see, it's nice and secure. So pop the boot release and it will open up nicely. And you can see it's not loose anymore. And that's how you repair the boot trim on a Citroen C4 Grand Picasso Mark 1. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, drop a like and consider subscribing if you're new. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful or entertaining, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps both the channel and me out. If you're new here, consider subscribing. I post 2 videos a week, so by subscribing, you'll never miss a thing. Got any questions or suggestions? Drop a comment down below, and I'll do my best to reply to everyone. Here at Dobby Repairs, we're all about helping you learn how to work on your vehicle safely and showing you don't need to spend a fortune on tools to get the job done. Want to support the channel further? Become a member, starting at just 99p. Members get perks like early access to videos and more exclusive content. Keep fixing, and I'll see you in the next one.